Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am bringing you guys some best tips and tricks for Rebirth Island in Season 4 of Warzone. Now these are going to be some cool little nifty tips and tricks that you might not have known about, as well as some general tips and tricks on how to play Rebirth Island in order to do the best on it. I'm going to go over some of the more beginner stuff and some of the more intermediate and expert things as well there, just mixed throughout the video so that there is something for everybody in this video. I'm going to go over some very nifty little things such as dead silence, how it renews itself on Rebirth Island, how you can quickly get a loadout, and much more stuff. So make sure you stay tuned in this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you drop a like on today's video if you do go on to enjoy it and find it useful. And if you are brand new to the channel here and you want to find your way back, make sure you go down below, press the big red subscribe button, and make sure you got notification bells turned on. We are pushing for 2k subs, so it'd be fantastic if you could help me out today. So let's jump on with today's video. The first tip here, like I mentioned in the intro there, is going to be that dead silence actually does renew on Rebirth Island. So when you go ahead and activate dead silence, you've got a certain timer around the emblem which lets you know how long left you have of this perk active. Now when you get a kill with a dead silence, not a down, a full kill, so if you end somebody fully when you've killed them whilst you've got dead silence activated, it will actually refresh this timer to start from the very top again. In other words, giving you a brand new dead silence for the full kill. Now this is really useful if you are going in maybe 1 or 2 versus 3 or 4, so you're outnumbered. You can go ahead, pick one off. If you then get the chance to get that end and you've got dead silence active whilst you got that kill, you can then reposition, jump down out of the window, run back up the stairs, and it's going to really confuse players, because every single time you end a player, you're going to get a full spurt of dead silence back on, which is going to mean you can reposition really easily. You can actually get a kill, a full kill, and if it's towards the end of the game, resurgence is turned off. You get that full kill while rebirth is disabled. That's somebody out of the game, evens the numbers out. You can then back out of the fight, get to somewhere completely different, and the enemies will have no idea where you've gone. So this is a really cool tip. I only learned about this very recently, so I thought that was really important to show you guys at the start, because it's one of the most nifty little things about Rebirth, which is really nice. Now if you are wanting to get a loadout very quickly in Rebirth Island, one of the easiest things you can do obviously is do contracts, but a lot of people will go for things like supply runs, bounties. They're all really good on Rebirth Island because generally you're going to be close knit and the bounties are going to kind of be on top of one another, so you can get things done very easily. But by far the best cash method is to go ahead and do a scavenger, because you're going to get money from the boxes that you loot, as well as any other buildings that you're going to loot up whilst you're doing those boxes. And obviously for completing it, you get a certain payout for each member of the team as well. So if you are on Resurgence quads, you all get the money, which means 9 times out of 10 after you've completed just that one scavenger off the bat, if you combine cash together, you can get your loadout crate instantly almost into the game. First 30 seconds, loadout in, get yourselves positioned somewhere nice, get a couple UAVs, maybe then do a supply run after that, get your money bumped up, get self-reses if any of you have gone down in that time, and you are right back into the game with pretty much everything you're going to need for that game set up. And obviously that means then when your free loadout comes in, if any of you do manage to die, then you can go ahead and land on that one, and it's going to stay there until all 4 players pop it, which is leading on to the next tip, which is that loadouts actually stay on the map and you can reuse them multiple times when you do get a resurgence redeploy, as long as all 4 players in your team don't pop the crate. So in other words, if you have 3 players that are constantly redeploying, trying to get the loadout and get over to the 1 player that's stacked up in a good position, they can go ahead and keep doing that up until that 4th player grabs it. So if you've got someone who's already got the loadout who hasn't died, make sure that they don't pick up Ghost or something like that if you are going to be respawning, because you're going to be able to reuse that crate as many times as you need to up until all 4 players individually have used it at some point. So it doesn't have to be that life, it can be at any point. Once all 4 of you have used it, it pops. So try and maybe get a couple loadouts on the map in different places so you can redeploy on those, and make sure that you don't all use the same one. That way you're going to have an unlimited supply pretty much. Now another thing to note is that there is actually some ammo boxes on the map. Obviously munitions are the best because they give you grenades and things, and that's great if you've got a supply run. They're super cheap and they're pretty easy to get done on this map. If you are running low on ammo during a fight or whatever, do remember where they are. There's one in bottom Nova, there's one in control center, as well as a few others jotted around the map. Bio, for example, has one, and these areas are really good because it means if you are mid gunfight or you're at the start of a game, you pick up a weapon, you've only got 1 clip, but there's a lot of people around, you can go ahead, grab these ammo caches, and then get straight back into the fight straight away, to mean that you can get those kills up quickly and again get to that loadout even faster than usual, which is really really, really important. Now, on top of that, be aware of where people camp. It sounds fairly obvious, but a lot of players will sit in certain spots, and until you have a UAV in, which, you know, you can do kind of fairly easily if you keep it on top of your economy, but if you are trying to work out on the map when you're first starting to play, or once you're into sort of the mid to late game section of the game, then you're going to want to know that people kind of sit roughly prison roof, command center, control center, bioweapons, whatever roofs are in, generally you've got people on top of. You're then going to have people in like the pointed buildings towards the middle of the map. Generally, each building in the middle of the map will have at least a team or two in, so when you are going to challenge those, just be aware that there could be multiple teams in or around one building, so you need to position yourself accordingly and as best you can to take on multiple teams. So again, things like pushing prison roof all go together at the same time, up and get in a good spot where you can take out a team, then you can reposition if you need to, and then you can go and fight the next one. And make sure, like I said there, you've got as many UAVs constantly up as you can. Keep your economy flowing, get the contracts done because they're very, very easy to do and always close knit. So even if you get a supplier and it's only going to send you like 100, 200 meters, sometimes it's the one right next to where you just pick up the actual contract itself, which is ridiculously easy. And you can just go ahead and have, especially if you're playing quads, you can have team members stood on a by either side of where a load of contracts are, and then just constantly go around and grab the supplier and you just be instantly checking them off, which gets your bonus up. Great way to level up weapon XP. I made a video on that as well, and it also gets your player XP up, obviously. But on top of that, every time you complete a contract, you get an extra bonus payout, so you're going to have tons and tons of cash doing this. So you're going to always be on top of the UAVs with that one. Now, another thing to do is not to worry about loadouts. If you are struggling behind for whatever reason, you're in a really sweaty lobby, or you're kind of not warmed up yet today, you're just playing and you're trying to get back into the rhythm, don't worry about your loadout once you've gone down. If you've managed to buy your own and you can get it in and it's in a safe spot, that's great. But if the free loadout is in a pretty guarded spot, there's a lot of players around, a lot of people ADSing at the loadouts like they like to do, kind of camp the building next to it, wait for you to go to it and get a couple free kills. Players like to do that. Some people maybe need to do that, who knows, but either way, they're going to be camped pretty heavily from mid-game onwards, so the best thing to do, honestly, is just to drop somewhere that looks fairly unlooted, grab whatever ground loot you can find, and either go and fight the players that are nearest to you if you've seen them on the way in or whatever, or just go ahead, complete some contracts if they're available, or go ahead and just loot up cash and get your own loadout in, or like I say, just go ahead and kill the nearest players, take their loadout and work your way back to that loadout, clearing out the buildings around yours so that it's not camped, and that way you will have a ton more success and save yourself a ton of headaches, because trust me, I've tried this one out multiple times and often you land on it, get instantly beamed, second time, third time, fourth time, and it gets very frustrating and you get stuck in a loop of thinking, no, this time I'm going to get it, and you don't, and it's annoying. So cut your losses, go ahead and just loot up somewhere else. You'll be much better off for doing that. Another thing here is there is a lot of vehicles on this map, but people generally don't use them. That being said, they can be very, very useful, and a chopper can be really, really good to get yourself around, especially off the start. If you'd land somewhere, it's kind of a lot of people, maybe you land command center, let's say, a lot of people there, you know there's a chopper at shore, you could just jump off, get in that chopper, particularly if a couple of your teammates have gone down, fly off, jump out somewhere and reposition yourself entirely, which can be really, really useful. But generally they aren't used that much, like I said. So realistically, on your classes, you're not going to really want to run a C4. Maybe a Semtex is a good option, maybe a Thermite, but generally C4s are not as useful. Same with launchers, because people generally aren't using the vehicles on Rebirth Island. It's a small enough map to rotate by foot, particularly if you get Specialist or Dead Silence. It's going to be fairly easy, so you're not going to see as many people using vehicles, so therefore probably could steer away from launchers and C4 on this one. Obviously, you're going to want to use the best classes you possibly can. There'll be a card linked on the top of the video now to my latest video on the classes. I've done best SMGs, but I've also done top 5 loadouts for July as well, so you guys can go ahead and check out those videos. It's going to be really integral to use good classes in order to get kills, because obviously if people are using better weapons than you, you're probably going to die even if you're a good player. Okay, some of the really good players can pretty much use anything, but generally most of us want to use the best weapons we can so that we've at least got a good chance of winning each and every game and gunfight when we get into it. So that's going to be super important too. And finally here, obviously play as a team the best you can. Obviously if you're filling with randoms, it's a little bit more difficult, but just get used to the ping system, get used to just following people around and kind of playing as a team, even if you're not communicating very much, because the chances are either an enemy will shoot at the teammate first or you first, and then you'll be able to exchange those bullets across, and you'll be able to trade off if your team or yourself go down. Hopefully that teammate or you can get the trade on the enemy, so then you are playing for equals rather than just getting picked off, dying, and then not having any information, especially without comms. If you've got comms, get used to giving good comms to your teammates. Get into the habit of making sure that you both are kind of going around together, or all 4 of you are going around together, making sure you know where you are, giving good comms. making sure you know what the names of each of the buildings are, or at least what you guys are going to call them, okay? Because there's nothing worse than someone saying the big building over there, and there's 3 big buildings, you don't know which one they're on about, and then you get shot in the side of the head. Not helpful. So make sure you got your comms down, and that will really, really help you improve and do well on Rebirth. Now, hopefully you guys have found this video useful. If you have, be sure to leave a like on it down below, and let me know in the comments if you'd like a part 2 for some more tips and tricks for Rebirth, or if you'd like to see a Verdansk version, so how to do well on Verdansk, a few nifty tips and tricks for that as well. I've got tons more up my sleeve, so if you'd like to see those, let me know in the comments. Other than that, if you are new to the channel, like I said at the start, we are pushing for 2k subs, so if you could subscribe and help me out, that would be much, much appreciated. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, take care, and peace.